Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. So, welcome to podcast to be named later. We're going to cut all this out anyway. And today...
Welcome to the... Is this the first episode? Episode number 1?
Episode number 1.
This is the first podcast. Of insert
Jacob
podcast,
and Ben
podcast
doing
title
a podcast.
Here.
And yeah, today our topic is going to be the question that everybody wants to know the answer to. Pearl Jam's 10 versus the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper. What's the better album?
Right. And we originally thought these could have been the greatest albums of all time.
Definitely.
In the realm of possibility.
Realm of possibilities. Well, look, how did we get here? How did we get here?
This could be clickbait.
This could be clickbait.
Yeah.
So we were talking about our
favorite album.
Our favorite albums, most influential albums between the two of us. My biggest influence would be the Beatles.
Yes.
Your biggest influence, one of.
Is yeah. The 10 is one of the only albums that I bought more than once. Like when you had to buy CDs.
Right.
And then you would break a CD.
Yep.
Yeah. So this gives our age away.
I've purchased the White Album at least 4 times.
Right.
I had the cassette, the CDs, and then I have 2 different versions on vinyl.
And this is funny because we were in the same band at one point in time.
Yeah.
But I don't like the Beatles.
Right.
At all.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's bring everybody up to speed. I'm Ben. This is Jacob.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we met in high school.
That's right.
At a friend's.
You remember?
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember.
Oh God.
We were at Barnes and Noble on Hurstbourne Parkway, and Nick Pay and them other 2 dudes, Brian and Brian. I think they were both named Brian. And they were playing some acoustic jams, and we were both watching. And then at some point, like, we started chatting. You were like, "I play music." I was like, "I play music." We started playing music together.
Wow.
We started jamming out to some acoustic songs.
This was in high school.
Yeah, this was in high school. This was like 98.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's weird that even happens because I don't remember.
Right. Absolutely. We were jamming out on Sister Hazel songs.
Yeah, I do. I actually.
Hootie and the Blowfish.
I've been playing a little bit of Sister Hazel.
Word.
On my own, just for fun, and Hootie, big influence, and if you find this entertaining, there will be a.
We're going deep on Hootie and the Blowfish.
We're going Hootie versus the Blowfish.
Yeah, so next episode coming up.
Right.
And then we went from there, and then we did some college separately. And then came back and we're in a not successful band called Born
I don't
Yesterday.
know if that's fair. I mean, we played shows.
We played shows, but I mean, like, did we make money?
No. Did we know how to make money? Did we know how to ask for money?
Probably not.
No. I think we could have made more money if I would have just asked for it.
Let me put this into perspective for everybody listening here. We were the band at the metal show playing songs with open D chords. So maybe we weren't
self-aware, maybe.
Maybe. The thing I always go to is we were 4 guys who were all in a separate band together.
That's true. That I can see. Yeah. Like I had a vision, or maybe it wasn't it must not have been a good vision because didn't really materialize, but like I had an idea of what I thought the music should sound like, and it never sounded like that.
Well, look, I had a great time. I think everybody else had a good time.
Yeah.
We had some fun. We had some fun. We had some fun. We made some music. All right, let's move on. That's not what people want to listen to.
No. But we are making new music.
We are trying to make some new music. We're mixing it up a little bit.
And yeah, maybe we'll play some. We played some in the intro, maybe.
Who knows?
We might have done that.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the topic here. Why these 2 albums? It's 2 of our top influences. Now we're saying, we're kind of posing one against the other, but let's be honest. These are 2 albums that should not really be compared to each other.
I don't know. I think the only thing they have in common is the fact that if you were a kid growing up during the time the album was released, you probably had it on repeat.
Yeah, no, I will give.
Yeah.
I will agree to that.
So,
Stylistically, they are completely on opposite ends.
well, there are guitars in both.
There are guitars, yes.
Yeah.
Standard.
I would say guitars, drums, bass, those are similar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there were more similarities than maybe to even modern music.
Right, but I think for the purposes of general conversation, usually you hear Beatles versus Stones, or you hear Pearl Jam versus Nirvana, or who's better out of those different time frames, and we're talking plucking one out of one time frame, one out of the other, putting them against each other.
In a new time frame, to be fair.
In a new time frame,
to be fair.
yes. And it's not like we're saying there's a winner.
Yeah, well, in a post-apocalyptic world, I think there might be.
Oh gosh, I'm dropping stuff. Okay.
It's getting better all the time.
Getting better.
Does not equate. Does not compute. It doesn't hold up.
Wow. Just going for the jugular right out of the gate. I think it is getting better all the time. Or you know what? If it isn't, I want to believe that it is.
That's fair.
I want to be hopeful. I want my music to be hopeful.
Yeah. Denial's probably healthy on some level.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Oh man, we're gonna get into it. This is gonna be great. Okay. And then one thing I do want to stress before we really jump into it is the idea that, like, look, this isn't a place for music Nazism. This isn't
you can't say Nazi anymore. For YouTube, we'll say Yahtzee.
What?
You have to code it. They will flag your video.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
Free speech is over.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a thing.
All right. Okay, but either way, the idea that, look, you like what you like, I like what I like. People are allowed to like different types of music. Some people like country.
Yeah,
and that's on them. Far be it for me to take away somebody's joy if they enjoy, Luke Bryan.
Well, I mean, country feels like it's all the same song.
True. Yeah. I'm sure we'll get into it, but not today.
Yeah.
Today, we're talking Pearl Jam 10.
Okay, we need a track list or something. Can you pull something up?
Oh, yeah.
Here we got it over here.
I got a track list here.
This is it. Yeah.
What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about Pearl Jam or Sgt. Pepper?
Well, when did you start listening to Sgt. Pepper?
Okay, so Sgt. Pepper...
Beatles.
Beatles were just kind of like always around, but I would say... I didn't get like super into them until I was probably like 9 or 10. You know what? No, that's not entirely true. I think a couple of things all happened at a similar time. We got our family's first CD player, and my mom brought home the CD player and brought home this album, Sgt. Pepper. Now, I remember looking at it and thinking, that's not the Beatles. These guys have mustaches. This isn't I Want to Hold Your Hand.
This was a band pretending to be another band.
What is happening here? The Beatles don't have mustaches and beards and wear glasses. They all have the same haircut. This is not what I was led to believe. And I think that shocked my mom into being like, oh, wait, no, I need to educate my kids better on good music. I think for that Christmas, the following Christmas, I asked for, who were those guys? Criss Cross?
Oh, yeah. I
who
remember
wore their clothes backwards?
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure I did that.
I got that cassette for Christmas, but she also gave me the White Album on cassette for Christmas. And she was like, yes, you get to listen to the thing you want, but you also have to listen to this thing that's, let's be honest, better. And I'm better for it.
True.
So, long story short, that's how I ended up getting into the Beatles. I ended up picking up a couple more cassettes. The first CD that I bought with my own money was Rubber Soul. And honestly, I think the next 3 CDs that I bought with my own money were Beatles albums.
See, this is so weird because to me, the Beatles are like basically the first boy band.
Wow. Okay. I get it. I get it.
you come out, you pay a bunch of people to come to your show and be excited to see you and film it on camera.
Oh, you think
You're
it was
a boy band.
Wait, you think that the audience was paid to be there?
I don't know so much they were paid to be there, but I'm pretty sure they were coaxed to be so excited.
Oh, I don't know about that, man.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
it's like a chicken or the egg thing.
I think Beatlemania was what I think it swept the nation. Well, you also got to think about it at the time. Kennedy was just assassinated. People wasn't a whole lot of joy around. Okay.
Yeah.
So then
you
here comes these like
you needed something
nice
to be happy about.
looking, gentlemen from across the sea
Four
singing "I Want to Hold Your
dudes
Hand"
with the same haircut,
Yeah,
singing songs
I want to hold your
that
hand,
are
man.
upbeat.
Yeah, and I think
New Kids on the Block.
Oh, look, are there some similarities? 100%. However, the Beatles wrote their own songs, played their music. There wasn't a dancing aspect.
You make an excellent point.
Did they wear very coordinated suits together?
Occasionally,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Did they make?
So, I
did
will
they
give
make
you
their
the
own?
point.
They made their own videos. Like films. Like
Yeah. They made promotional videos for their
promotional
songs.
films.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of New Kids on the Block. I only know this because I had the New Kids on the Block VHS.
Ooh. Was it
and-
Hangin' Tough?
Hanging Tough.
Hangin'
And it's
Tough.
incredibly embarrassing to mention this, but I see a lot of parallels.
Look, real talk. I still have Hanging Tough.
Okay.
Sitting up in a room, VHS. Thank you, Candace, for giving me that for my birthday.
So it's
Several years ago.
So we were inspired by the same musical influence.
Yes. So the Beatles influenced New Kids on the Block in a roundabout way, and that's
so
how we
now
connect.
Now it makes more sense.
That we should have started a boy band.
We should have.
We should have started a boy band. You know, and honestly, for like 2003, that would have been the time to do it.
That might have worked.
Yeah.
If we were, I would have had to work out. I probably still need to.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't really our jam, was it?
No.
All right, so let's get into it. Beatles are a boy band. All right, so let's jump over to 10. How were you introduced to this album?
I'm pretty sure I heard a lot. I have two memories of hearing Pearl Jam and maybe not realizing they were the same band, but I heard a live on the radio, and I saw the Jeremy music video.
Yeah, the Jeremy music video.
And I was like, what is this? You know, and it was just the guy's voice is what did it.
100%.
Yeah, like you could feel the emotion there. I'm like, nobody was singing like that.
Right.
You know? Yeah, I mean, now, we have iterations of that style that are kind of gross and Creedish.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, man, that came at a good, like, at the perfect time. It was a very depressing album, and I was pretty depressed. My parents got divorced, and I would just put that album on repeat in my bedroom and with my headphones on, or not, and cry my heart out. Good times.
Nice.
But I, in retrospect, I couldn't really identify with the lyrics.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know anybody that had killed themselves. I didn't know anybody doing drugs with needles.
You didn't know anybody whose father wasn't their father, and they found that out when they were a teenager.
Right. Yeah. Didn't know any of that.
What?
So I think it was just the raw emotion of it that I just was attracted to.
Yeah. I think for me, MTV is pretty much where I found Pearl Jam. MTV was always on in our house. Yeah, like the combination of Even Flow, Alive, and Jeremy constantly being on MTV definitely solidified some things. Obviously, like, at the time, Nirvana, Soundgarden, all these bands show up out of Seattle and completely blow away hair metal, and for the better. And everyone who was our age at that time became, instantly glued to it. So that is, huge, and, obviously sticks with us because it's now almost 30 years later and we're still talking about this album. Right?
Yeah.
So all right. So let's get into the meat and the bones of it. When was the last time you listened to Pearl Jam's 10?
Recently, in preparation for this podcast.
Right, prior to
Right.
that. Prior to that, when was
It's
the last
been a
time?
while. I think I've heard Black on the radio a lot. Black's
Definitely.
a pretty epic song. Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
You nailed it. And it's epic. And I think one of the songs that I like too as well on that album is Porch.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It just like has this like raw, like aggressive vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that song at all?
I'm going to play it. Oh, yeah, the one where he drops the F-bomb right out of the gate. All right, so let's let you know what you alluded to it earlier. Let's dive into the Eddie Vedder, like the rich baritone voice of Eddie Vedder, which literally created
A
a
genre?
1,000 bands.
Yeah, like a subgenre of rock that was just what we would call it the bands.
Yeah.
Er.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But I think something that Eddie Vedder does that the bands don't do is like he would just randomly go up to high notes too and be like, whoo, whoo, like
Sure,
in his head
yeah.
voice, like just crazy, like crazy. Like his voice was crazy.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it was so impactful.
One of the things, like coming back to this album, like in my mind, like if someone had said it, I would have immediately agreed with it. But I didn't come to the thought originally until re-listening to this album in preparation for this. The Eddie Vedder noises.
Yeah.
There's just like random like
Yeah.
you know, and like nobody else really does that. The only person that I was trying to think, like, who else does this? And Prince is the only person that immediately came to mind
Yeah.
of
It's like
somebody. But you know, obviously, like Prince's noises are all like sexy noises.
like Michael Jackson, but like that's a whole nother.
Yeah, like his were like just almost
Screechy.
like vocal ticks.
I don't know if that's a proper comparison, but yeah, he really had something different. That you didn't hear, you still don't hear.
Right, absolutely. And that's something that, like, the Creeds and the Nickelbacks and the whoever else is that follow behind.
They didn't have that extra.
Well, there also isn't like, maybe I haven't listened to enough Creed to really, really,
Are we gonna go?
you know,
Yeah.
become an authority on speaking on their behalf. But
It's not
the emotion, the emotion in the songs of 10, plus like the storytelling in the songs is really at like I would say a high level, and it almost has that like Paul McCartney, Elvis Costello, Billy Joel, like, you know what's going on in the song.
Right. Yeah.
As
It's like a
opposed
whole
to-
story. It's
Yeah,
There were
it's-
still these songs. Still, a lot of them still had 3 verses.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not like a John Lennon, the other end of the spectrum, John Lennon, Kurt Cobain land, where it's like, these lyrics make no sense.
No,
But
no.
yet they still fit, and you
You sing along to it even though you don't know what you're saying.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
It's more phonetic than anything else.
It's obvious. Yeah. Yeah. The stories are obvious. There are a few, like very few. What's the word I'm looking for?
Artists, songs,
Words
music,
that mean another
words.
word.
metaphors.
There are very few
similes.
There aren't that many metaphors, and the ones that are there are like easy to understand.
Right,
Yeah.
right, absolutely. For instance, bring it back to Alive.
Mhm.
I mean, we all know what's going on in that song, and it ain't fun.
No.
Same thing with Jeremy, not fun. But we all know, like,
But the
he's
the
telling
emotion,
us- he's
the
telling
emotion
a
is-
story.
Yeah, the emotion, comes
emotion is
across.
there.
Yeah.
And I think what in the past I didn't appreciate, and now going back to it, I do, is how strong of a song Release is. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's just go track by track here.
I've been thinking about this, Ben. And
Okay.
Oh, dear Ben.
Yep.
Yeah, Release is one of my favorite songs. Always has been.
Okay.
Always has been. I would listen to that song like on like a long trip or something on a bus or something, just in my headphones. I just want to cry, like literally want to cry. Like,
Yeah.
it's just magical, you know.
The cathartic nature of that song is so strong. Also, what is up with Pearl Jam only having one word titles to all their songs on this album? No, wait. Why Go and Even Flow do have 2 words in them. Everything else, single word.
Yeah,
I don't know.
a word is
I don't know. Yeah, look.
a word is an idea, right?
Right?
That's all.
Absolutely. But real circling back on Release.
Also, all the keywords weren't taken. You know. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Have you seen the movie Out of the Furnace starring Christian Bale and Zoe Saldana and Forrest Whitaker
No.
and Sam Shepard?
No. Is it
And who else
literally
is in that
someone
movie?
crawling out of a furnace?
No,
Okay.
no.
I
Oh,
feel like
Casey Affleck's in
Is
that
it a
movie.
metaphor?
And we got Woody Harrelson. Hal Holbrook's son is in it.
How does this relate?
So Eddie Vedder re-recorded Release
Oh,
for
I
that
haven't heard this.
movie, and it plays at the beginning and at the end. Very powerful movie. Totally recommend. It was one of those like, oh, this is on, and I don't plan on watching it, but I'm sitting here, and then an hour and a
Is
half
it-
later,
But how? I
is
mean,
it depressing? Yeah.
How can it be more epic than
It's
the original?
very depressing. I don't know. It's sadder, more subdued, but still powerful.
Here's the thing. Like, that music puts you in a place. Like, it puts you in an emotional state.
Mhm.
Like, there's an argument to be made, and I don't know. I think both are true.
Mhm.
Whether or not, like, you're in a certain mood, so you listen to a certain type of music,
Mhm.
or you listen to a certain type of music and you're in a certain mood.
True.
I think both things are true in my experience. So if you listen to that, you will definitely feel something. And if you don't, here's the thing. This is why I think 10 is better.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's go into Sgt. Pepper.
This is why
Let's
I
do
think
it.
10 is better than Sgt. Pepper.
Okay.
It's because you feel 10. Like, every song, like, it hits you, man. Like, the emotion just gets to you. Like, it's not the greatest production.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good for a rock album. It's pretty good production.
Definitely.
But it's not, they're definitely way better produced bands. It just hits you. And because the words are what they are and he's telling the story, I think that's why it hits you. Because, like, there's no going around it. You can't imagine it's something else. It's like, oh no, this is the thing and this is what happened. That's my 2 cents on it.
Okay.
What's your-
That's why
what's
you
your
like
take?
it more.
Yeah.
That's why you like it more. That's great. I think that it is an incredibly strong album, but it kind of tails off at the end, I think. Aside from Release, we'll just track list. Once, banger. Even Flow, the best song they've ever written, the best song they've ever played. That
I
for
would
me,
disagree.
I think Even Flow is
Maybe it's because I don't.
Apex Pearl
That's
Jam.
actually one of the songs I never understood what he's saying. Maybe I should look up the lyrics.
See, this is where you and our musical tastes really differ because I don't care that much about lyrics.
Okay. All right.
And
so just
you
the vibe,
do a lot.
the vibe of the song.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
Yeah.
Even Flow, blah, da, 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 da. I have no idea what
Okay,
he's saying.
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, copyright
and I'm
strike.
fine with that.
Yeah.
Alive, awesome. Why go? Good, strong,
Rocks.
like
Yeah.
why go? Yeah,
Yeah.
Black.
You can't
Everybody
deny it.
loves that. Sad, definitely.
I don't. Which one is that?
Black.
Oh, I thought there was a
Yep.
song called "Sad." I was like, well,
Oh, no.
I don't think that's on the album.
There should be.
The whole record. They could rename the record. So.
Yeah. And then Jeremy. So that is
Those are all
6,
strong.
7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Every-
6 bangers.
Every song is
like
strong.
every song. Yeah. That
And like
is-
you said, Release
that's
as
like
well.
Jagged Little Pill strong.
Yeah, and like you said, Release at the end. I think Porch is strong.
Yeah. I mean,
And-
like Oceans, Porch, Garden, and Deep. Good.
Garden's good.
Good. I just don't get that same vibe.
Yeah, it's like they weren't all in on it or something, or like they
Look,
weren't together. But
I mean, if they
It's a good song.
had an album of 12 songs where every single one of them was straight magic,
Yeah.
then
they'd be Hootie and the Blowfish.
I wouldn't go there, friend. Would not go there. But then Release comes in and it's like,
It's
gosh,
like
just
the
blows it
perfect-
out of the water.
The perfect ending.
Now, other interesting thing is
The
this
secret track.
this intro outro situation. So here we go with Once. This is the very beginning of the album here.
Yeah, we can't play it though.
I'm gonna play it for a
is-
couple seconds. It's fine.
Copyright strike.
Yeah, nobody's gonna. This isn't gonna hit the algorithm. This is
Right.
weird drum.
Okay,
beat
yeah.
with
It's
whatever.
weird and
All right.
drony.
So that
It's epic.
if you told me that flows into Once, I would have been like, "You're a liar.
No.
I don't remember that." All right, so then Release. Let's get to the end of that, and then we're back to the weird drum thing. Here's my problem with this. It's such a strong album. You don't need this, and it
Both things. You don't need the intro or the outro.
right.
Yeah, you
and
could go straight into
it bookends a different album.
Yeah, like it could be a different.
Like
It could be any record.
The tone that
It could have been
sets
Vitalogy.
is like a moody, like kind of like Opium Den vibe.
Soundtrack. Yeah.
And
soundtrack.
this is not an Opium Den album.
No.
This is a hit you in the face with some reality album.
Yeah, but I think the main purpose of that is just so you'll turn your speaker your sound system up.
What?
You play it.
I'm sorry.
and
Is this some like is this like some engineer trick that
Yeah.
I don't know about?
Yeah. So at the beginning, yeah. So at the beginning of a record, if it's quiet, you turn up your speakers, and to the human ear, louder is better. So you've already turned it up, and then when it kicks in, it's even louder and better.
So that when the punch comes, it hits.
It hits you. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
See, now we're learning new
Yeah.
stuff.
So
That's
there's a
great.
reason for it, even though
Okay.
it doesn't. The vibe of it is a little meh.
All right. So speaking of albums that have intros and outros, Sgt. Pepper.
Okay, we'll go back to Sgt. Pepper.
Sgt. Pepper. All right. So we start off with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Which is I can't get over this. Like I don't know. I had an ex that was crazy about the Beatles. Yeah, I just didn't get it. I still don't get it. So please enlighten me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what do you do when you're the biggest band in the world and you've exhausted all of your creative juices and started as this like straight up pop band, with boy band vibe, Beatlemania. Then you meet Dylan, start smoking some herb, and then all of a sudden you're doing Rubber Soul, you're getting into Revolver. Then it's like, hey, we're gonna drop some acid. Psychedelia's coming in, across the world, and this is the Beatles saying we're gonna overlay that, but we can't do that because we're the Beatles, and people expect a certain thing out of the Beatles. So then it's like, well, how do we do this without betraying the Beatles? We create the very first concept album, Sgt. Pepper.
Or
Okay, you have a different theory?
we might have to cut this out.
No, by all means.
But like, I don't know how Alex Jones you've gone on this.
No.
The reason I brought up my ex is because she had a crazy. There's a conspiracy that Paul McCartney died.
Oh, yeah. I'm well aware of the Paul is dead conspiracy,
well, that
of course.
takes place, and the reason this album is like that is because the new guy they hired was a songwriter. Right?
Okay.
And I'm hoping I'm getting this right to time-wise, but I'm pretty sure it was this album that was the first one that the new Paul McCartney theoretically wrote, according to...
I think that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is why it was so different, and that they would use the Sgt. Pepper as a way to just disguise the fact that somebody else totally wrote.
On the surface, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why you're wrong.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, because I really didn't want to go there because I didn't like re-research it. So
No, this is great.
Yeah.
So, look, the cover looks like it's a funeral situation. So then why is that? 2, the flowers at the funeral are in the shape of a bass. So Paul McCartney, it makes sense. However, first and foremost, there's a ton of Paul songs on this album. So
Exactly.
if you're replacing a guy, if up until that point, John is the straight leader of the band.
Yeah.
He is the one who is in control 97% of the time. Probably actually Brian Epstein's in control 97% of the time. And then, but John is the guy who has the, connection with Brian Epstein. Yeah. So this band is being led by John, and, something like Hard Day's Night. There's only like 3 Paul songs on Hard Day's Night. So then we replace the number 2 guy in the band with a stand-in and then give him 70% of the album? Because this is Sgt. Pepper. He sings that one.
Maybe John was burnt out. You know what I mean? And then you say, no, we're going to keep the band together. Let's get this guy. We'll step him in. He's going to write all the songs for this
you
one.
got Getting Better, Fixing
You don't
a
have to
Hole,
worry.
She's Leaving Home. When I'm 64, Lovely Rita, half of or a third of A Day in the Life,
just
and Sgt. Pepper's Reprise. Come on, man! Like you don't give the new guy the keys to the Beamer.
Well, unless he's already.
What?
Who are you going to put in the Beatles? Like, you got to put somebody with some influence that knows what they're doing.
I think you hide him in the back is what you do. I think if you're like, oh, we got this new fake Paul, get over there. Like you're not singing Yesterday.
But if you if something tragic happened to me or you, like, I don't know, it would be harder to write music.
Maybe.
It would be hard to write music if somebody I cared about in my band passed away. I wouldn't be able to write music.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Is there, if Paul died, would John be in such a place that he wouldn't be able to just churn out hits? Probably.
Yeah. And and we don't have to go full conspiracy, but
right.
it's a theory, it's out there.
Right.
Go into it yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, why not? For purely academic, no reason to believe that this is true reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so they've created this concept of the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which, to be perfectly honest, in later interviews, John Lennon was like, yeah, Paul came up with a concept, and I didn't really write songs to that concept, but we said that they fit, so they fit. And, that's pretty true. It's not that...
Which ones did John write? You said
John wrote Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Okay.
And Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite. Talk about songs that, only have one word in them. That one's wordy. And then Good Morning, and A Day in the Life. 2/3.
Okay.
So 4 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Can we just
13.
can I just say how the songs even though they're all on an album that is supposedly what is it called? A theme?
Concept?
A concept album.
Yeah.
They don't sound like they all go together.
Okay. Okay.
You've got Lucy. I mean, I know John wrote Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, but even Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and Rita the Meter Maid. Well, I don't know. I just don't get it.
Okay.
And this song is growing on me, but it's completely inappropriate. Like if somebody came out with Rita the Meter, they rhyme meter with Rita, so it's very confusing. Rita the Meter Maid.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. If that came out today, they'd be canceled. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh, I don't know.
But I mean, maybe there aren't.
Yeah.
Are there meter maids?
Well, okay. As far as getting canceled, I think getting better would be the opportunity for Paul to get canceled because he has that line about I used to be cruel to my woman, I beat her and kept her apart from the things that she loved.
Yeah.
That one
instant
look
cancellation.
Not great.
Well, if you're pretending to be someone else, that's a good time to do it.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna take on this guy's whole life and then say that he was abusive in his relationships.
Man, I didn't do a very good job on my research because I don't remember that lyric. But yeah,
it's completely inappropriate. It's not a lyric that I would expect you to remember.
No, I should have probably remembered that.
So I'll go into what I love about this album.
Okay.
Anytime the music plays, this entire album, any part of it, I get a sense of joy.
Yeah.
I get a sense of joy.
I'm going to enter. I know I said I was going to let you talk. But
by all means.
Okay.
Look, we're having a conversation. This isn't monologues about albums. This is Ben and Jacob talking about stuff.
Yeah. So I was listening to this record as you do, but only recently. And I have to admit, I was feeling pretty good. Listen, I was like,
great.
hey, this is fun. I can just do chores and it's fun. I can,
Lovely Rita.
Yeah. Just, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I mean, hopefully it's not.
Right. Look, I'm fixing a hole where the rain gets in. Stops my mind from wandering. Where it will go.
And speaking of weird voices.
Yeah.
Weird voices. Which I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they did so many. They did,
as far as just being all over the place vocally?
Not just getting weird.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know. This weird, whispery, raspy thing that's like another person or a demon or something. I didn't realize they did that I mean, it's just in a few places, but like, you know.
Another thing that I love about this album is that it takes chances. It takes some big swings for a band that was, you know, I Want to Hold Your Hand and She Loves You and Help, you know, going into, you know, Good Morning, where the first line of the song Good Morning is nothing to do to save his life, called wife in. What is happening? And that's just John Lennon being like, these words sound cool together to this beat. And like the opposite of the Vedder telling a story, it is telling a story, but without
there's no setup.
There's no
it's just, this
there's no
happened.
narrative.
It's
There's
terrible.
No narrative.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, and that's another thing I guess I didn't realize because I wasn't zoning in on the lyrics as much. And maybe this album is actually more depressing than 10.
Well, you
lyrically.
know, there's I mean, like it could get sad, certainly. You know, A Day in the Life, which I think is the apex of this album.
Can you play that one? Because
sure.
I got all of them. I mean, I just listened
It's
to them. So
it's the very last one. The very last one.
Who made what?
The Grade.
The Grade?
Yeah.
So what is that song about?
Gosh, who knows?
Okay.
Right?
What?
I'm not great about stuff like that. It's that section there, right? He goes into another verse, and then Paul has this like completely out of nowhere like middle section where it's very jaunty. Woke up, fell out of bed, tried to comb across my head, dude.
And this is what like yeah. And like
and it's almost like two different songs, but it changes the perspective enough to where like, you know, John's portion is singing about, reading about, or hearing these stories about other things that are happening, and Paul's is very much first person-y. So it kind of gives you that like you're stepping into these stories that Lennon's talking about, and then it flies out of that back to Lennon's kind of like, I don't know, narrator kind of vibe. And
I don't know, like maybe it's too complex for me, but like to me it just takes me out of it when it switches like that.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
You know, I guess
like I probably would have thought it was another song just listening.
Right.
You know,
right
until it went back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It could be a thing where I've just listened to it so many times that
No, this is my bad because honestly I don't think I listened to this enough. But like I said, I did get some enjoyment out of this.
I want you to listen to this album every single day.
No,
for 5 days straight, and it will change your life, bro.
Okay.
No, you don't have to.
No,
do that.
I've been listening.
No, you don't have to.
I've been listening to it, you know, but it's just like, you know, I'm doing other things while I'm listening.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
and it's great background music. That's probably like really belittling such a highly revered album, but like, to me, it sounds great just anytime.
Right. No, absolutely. I've had streaks where it's like, this is the album that I play when I do the dishes.
Yeah.
Or when I'm making dinner.
100%.
But then for me, that's also just a time when I listen to music.
Right.
And
yeah, I don't think you would listen to Pearl Jam while you were vacuuming.
Yeah.
Like I don't, it doesn't work. But like the Beatles, like, yeah.
You can do some stuff.
You can do some stuff.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, is like, you can't just play Pearl Jam. Like, cause it changes the mood. And if people are not
from beginning to end, like as an album, I agree.
No, well, I mean, you can, but you can't just like put it on.
If you got a playlist,
if you got people over for a dinner party, you can't just press play on a Pearl Jam.
I think you can have Even Flow in the background.
You might be able to have Even Flow. And maybe that's why they play it so much on the radio.
From a long-term standpoint, because it's not like we're talking about Pearl Jam's second, third, fourth, fifth album, something like that. Like, we're talking about their very first album, and I'm saying that's the peak of Pearl Jam.
What about Versus?
Versus is fine, but like I couldn't tell you one song off Versus. No, wait, sorry, no, Versus I can tell you two songs. There's Old Lady Sitting Behind a Counter at the whatever thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's Daughter.
Yeah.
Which two songs that are like definitely like they're good.
They're good.
But like I think this is where
there are a lot of good Pearl Jam songs. Don't get me wrong, but you're right about 10, there's something special about 10. Where
Yeah.
it's just like every song.
I watched an interview once with Eddie Vedder where he was saying like, look, you spend all this time like writing songs, and as you're starting your career, and you're playing shows all the time, and you're weeding out the bad songs and continuing to write new songs, and weeding out the bad songs and continuing to write new songs, and then you only keep the great stuff, and then that becomes your first album.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of people say, okay, now do that
another one.
again.
Yeah.
And you're also touring, and you only have,
Right.
a year to do it. So, it makes sense that a lot of bands' first album should be incredibly strong.
Yeah. And he sounds like, you listen to the first album, he sounds like he's been doing it forever. He sounds like a grown ass man. Like,
Those songs are like, he knows, like, even though there's like random noises, like it still feels deliberate. I think that's why I bring up Prince, because in Prince songs, it feels deliberate.
Oh, it's on purpose. Yeah. It's like he does that noise every time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not like, I just made a noise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So having to like repeat that versus Vitology, whatever.
The Beatles.
Well, and then the other thing is you've got a song like Daughter, or Incredibly Long Title, Elderly Lady Behind the Counter of the End, whatever. And if I remember radio playing, all right, we're going to do like back to back grunge songs here.
Right.
And you're going to get, Heart-Shaped Box, which is, or Rape Me, which is going to like blow the doors off. Then we're going to come in with Spoon Man and just like blow the doors off. And then here comes Don't Call Me Daughter.
Yeah.
No, like they're going to like, they play like the soft one. And, is it radio's fault that they were like, look, chicks dig this song, so we're gonna play it.
It's got an acoustic guitar in
albums.
it. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I don't know. But I know they still have good songs, like Better Man.
Agreed.
Album.
Agreed.
Like there was still more good stuff.
They
coming.
have an incredible songbook, very strong career.
Yeah.
I'm not crapping on any of that.
But their trajectory definitely was down.
But like,
whereas Beatles was, I don't know.
The Beatles is all over the place. Like, and I don't think there's been a more examined band.
So this record is the most. Is it the most celebrated? No, what's the most celebrated?
It depends on who you're talking to and when you're talking to them.
Okay.
A lot of people say Revolver is the best album because that was the beginning of their like shift. I feel like the White Album is also like similarly like held like in high regard. But is this your favorite though? This is my favorite Beatles album. Okay. Yes. Right. Abbey Road also because it was a culmination of like,
I was we're going to sit down. Why we were doing this.
Right.
I was like,
look, it's in the conversation. It's in the conversation. It's in the conversation of in the broader sense. But for me personally, Sgt. Pepper is the one where if I'm like I've got 45 minutes and before I'm about to go do something and I want to listen to some music and I know I can listen to it from beginning to end because that means a lot to me. I like to listen to albums from beginning to end. And I'm going to put on.
Is there such thing
Sgt. Pepper anymore? Yeah. There are some albums that I will not play unless I get to listen to it from beginning to end. Dark Side of the Moon being one of them. But you can't do that with The Wall. You got to put out like 2 hours of time. Like that's like saying I'm going to listen to the.
It's so
Rent
weird how our musical tastes are so different because like Pink Floyd was never in my musical vocabulary, and like even though I listened to a couple of songs, like it still isn't, and like they're good. Like I don't have any problem with it.
Yeah, you just don't have like that emotional connection to it, or it didn't like reach out and grab you.
It didn't get me. I don't know. It's just I think maybe it was like something my father listened to, so I was like, nah, fuck this. Can you say fuck on a podcast?
Of course you can.
Nah, I don't.
No, I have the opposite problem a lot where I realize I don't know much about a band, and then I'll have to go back and check with my mom and be like, wait, did you not like David Bowie? And she'd be like, no, I didn't really get into David Bowie.
He can't sing.
Oh, that's why I didn't listen to David Bowie until I was 26.
It's so weird that your family like really helped you along musically.
Oh,
whereas
100%,
like
100%.
My family was like, here's some like country music, and I'm like, I'm gonna listen to something else. You know? I guess that's the problem with the being country. You know?
Hey man, look,
Yeah.
it's interesting how how the influences influence.
Yeah. I don't know. And MTV was a big
Oh, big
Yeah,
time, big time. Yeah, I would have that. I mean, as soon as we got home from school, that would be on the
Yep.
TV, and then
Carson the Daily.
yeah,
He's still doing it. The Voice.
yeah, word.
Yeah. So if he can do it.
Hit us up, Carson Daly. Let's talk. Let's chat. Let's talk. All right. So, last thoughts
Let's
to wrap it up. Obviously,
Did you change your mind any?
no. Sergeant Pepper is still like if. Okay, how about this?
Because
A
I
month from now.
went from hating the Beatles
Okay.
to like, oh, this is all right. This is
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
This is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like
I thoroughly recommend late Beatles.
Yeah.
Late Beatles is where it gets real interesting. They're
Yeah,
all
like
over the
weird.
place from a genre standpoint. You got George's like Indian influences, like Within You, Without You.
That's cool.
You know, there's a lot of sitars, a lot of like, you know, just like really interesting stuff going on there. You know, Paul is all over the map doing like, you know, grandma music with like When I'm 64, but then also, you know, later
a good
on
song. That's a good
bringing
song.
it like with a song like Why Don't We Do It in the Road? Like what is happening? And then, you know, John is on all kinds of drugs.
Yeah,
So
I
you've
was gonna
got
say that.
psychedelic stuff going on in Sgt. Pepper Magical Mystery Tour. And then, you know, a little bit of cocaine, heroin from White Album, Let It Be, Abbey Road. So, you know, how that affects like his music goes from like being like real chill and all, you know, like, you know, marshmallows and daydreams to everybody's got something to hide except for me and my monkey.
Yeah. I can see that.
No, like,
Did your opinion of 10 change?
did my opinion of 10 change?
What was your opinion before?
My opinion before was that it was an incredibly strong album that I had let out of my sight. It wasn't something that I've listened to in a while. I couldn't put a date on it.
Yeah.
And even when I was, you know, dropping CDs in the CD player, and 10 was one of them. I don't know that I was listening to the whole thing all the way through.
You just like skip around.
Yeah, I think so. And so this kind of like, you know, refocused it for me. I also thought Release was on a completely different album. I thought Release was way later. So when that came on, I was like, I know this song and I love
Yeah,
it.
and he mentions you in the song.
What?
Oh, dear Ben, can you see me now?
No, missed it.
Yep. And
Like I
it's
said,
a lyric.
Don't pay
in the
much
song.
attention to lyrics.
It's really good.
Will it be in my like all of the time rotation? Probably not, because you have to be in a mood.
You
have to,
and it goes back to what I was saying. He
Yeah.
puts you in a mood.
You have to be in a mood,
It will
or
put
you
you
have
in
to
a
be willing to accept the mood that it's going to put
Yeah,
you in.
yeah,
If I
it's-
gotta like show up for my like niece's birthday party,
Yeah.
I'm not jamming.
If you
to
have
10
a
on the
job
way there.
interview,
right?
do not listen
Don't
to
listen to
10
10.
before you go.
Don't
But,
do it.
Yeah, I think that's where what got me on the re-listenings was this is really emotional and it affects you. It affects me. And when you're younger, you don't realize how much music affects you. And I listened to it. I was like, oh my God, this is freaking tragic. You know,
Yeah.
but like I'm moved by it somehow, you know, like it stirs you up.
So, will it be more so in my rotation? Yes. Is it an everydayer? Of course not,
No.
because that's just not what it is.
It's what we just said.
But if I'm making like if I'm throwing out on a playlist, am I gonna like reach in and go, you know what, I haven't heard Why Go in a long time. I'm gonna throw Why Go in, or I'm gonna throw in Even Flow, because I love that song.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, like I appreciate it more, and I kind of like, it's a part of me like is a little upset that I listen to it so much.
Right.
You know, like it's
Right.
really depressing. It really is.
Yeah.
And it's really good. It's really depressing. So, you know, and at times like these, I think it is important to maybe listen to something that's more uplifting. Yeah.
You know, I go back and forth. Sometimes, you know, sometimes it's like, all right, like, let's see how deep the rabbit hole goes, and like, let's live in it for a second. But then it's like, okay, how are we going to come out of it?
Exactly. There's no Release is the perfect ending because it does pull you out of it, you know, to a degree, you know, but I don't know, man. Like it kind of messes with my head a little bit, to be honest.
Well, this has been Ben and Jacob talking
Yeah.
about their depression
Yeah. Well, 2020 in a nutshell.
through music, and I thought this was a lot of fun having this conversation.
Thank
It's
you.
not a conversation I ever expected to have.
Ever.
So
You
it
would
was
think we would
fun to
have
do that.
more conversations about music.
I mean, we talk about music, which is not this specific.
Not this one.
Yeah, not
Okay.
this.
Yeah,
stuff.
and thank you for listening. And,
Thank you for listening.
And if for some reason you're still watching,
do all the things that podcasts tell you to do, like, subscribe, all that business.
well, I think what is it? Podcasts need reviews. I think. is
okay,
the thing.
yeah, give us some reviews.
Yeah.
Tell us how weird our voices sound and how
And-
I say too much.
Well, I'll try to edit that out.
No, leave it in. Leave it in. Give
No,
people
this
what they
will
want.
be heavily edited. All right, and is that it? We're signing
That's
off.
it.
We're
That's
signing
it.
off. That's it.
All right.
And,
Till the next time.
yeah. Thanks.
Your dreams inside of you. I'll give it one last try. Please don't meet you. And I hope that you'll find